Hi, everybody. I'm Pratibha Agarwal. I am an immigration attorney. I'm based right outside of Washington, D.C. in Arlington, Virginia. Our clients are all throughout the United States, and we handle literally every single type of immigration law that you can imagine for the most part. So we represent businesses that are sponsoring individuals for green cards and temporary visas. We represent families that are sponsoring, children, parents, siblings, all of that. We can advise you on any of those issues, and even individuals that might be applying for their own, for example, investment-based visa, student visa, humanitarian cases for people that are victims of crime. So really, we handle kind of everything across the immigration sphere, but we only do immigration. My name, if you're just joining me or if you've never joined me before, my name is Pratibha Agarwal. I'm located right outside of Washington, D.C. in Arlington, Virginia. Our clients, however, are kind of all throughout the United States, and that's because immigration is considered a federal practice. So that means that I can represent you no matter where you are located. So great. Thanks so much for joining me. We're streaming live on both Facebook and on TikTok right now. You can, if you're watching this on replay, we have a great topic to start us off today. And I'll also be taking common immigration questions and answering those for those of you that are joining me live today. So think of your questions, put them in while I get started. Let me get started. So the topic today is, why do I need a lawyer? Why should I hire a lawyer for my immigration case? Why should I do that, right? So if you've done an immigration case, or if you're trying to even read about it online or trying to understand it, you know that it's kind of hard to understand the requirements. It's kind of hard sometimes, even on the forms, to understand what they're asking for, right? So the forms are designed to kind of get the information they need to see if you qualify based on the regulations. So a lawyer understands the regulations, and they see what is it in the form, how is it going to impact your eligibility by marking something that seems simply maybe a yes or a no, but maybe it puts you at risk somehow for not being eligible. So you want to delve into that a little bit more. Of course, 100%, we want to be truthful. We will never, misrepresent to the government. However, the forms are very challenging to understand. So for us, we do this day in and day out. So the forms are kind of second nature, at least to me. I look at it, we do it day in and day out. The forms are second nature to me. I know exactly what they're looking for. I can tell you exactly the portion of the regulation that they're trying to get at with this one or two questions, right? Even in something simple that's very common, like a green card application, for example. So for us, we know that. We also know the documents that they require. So we can put all of that information in, and we also know that, maybe we don't have a ton of evidence on this, so let's have some additional substitute documents to make that portion of the eligibility requirement, to make that portion stronger. So at the end of the day, we have a very clean application. We have all of the supporting documents. So when you have all of that, your turnaround is going to be much faster. So some of these green card applications, can take 2 years, 2.5 years. I've had people call me that have applied for something and they've paid the government fees, which are not cheap. Sometimes it's several $1,000s. I've had people call me that have paid the government fees, that have been sitting on their case for a very long time. And at the end of the day, they're not eligible. They're just not even eligible, but they would have known that from the very beginning, right? So for example, we have people call us saying, my green card holder husband sponsored me for a green card. My tourist visa expired and I'm sitting here, and my green card holder husband sponsored me for a green card. We filled this petition and the petition was approved. So I'm just, I'm waiting for the green card. I haven't got the green card in the mail. Well, if they talk to a lawyer, they would know, one, if you're out of status, right? If you're out of status, this is a basic thing, and a lot of you watching me are going to know this already, but many people will know, if you're out of status and a green card holder is sponsoring you, you're not going to be eligible likely for that benefit, right? Sometimes people call me and they've had these experiences that make them eligible for a green card, but they had no idea. So there's just this gap in knowledge, right? What are the immigration laws? How can I get eligible to be able to receive a green card. There's just a gap and it's hard to understand and figure out on your own. So if you want to ensure that you qualify for something, if you want to have the strongest application possible, then I would suggest, you need to go with an attorney at that point, right? If you'd like to work with us, call us for a consultation. Right now, I'm happy to take your questions. If you want to kind of ask me whatever immigration questions you might have, certainly give us, put it on here. I'm on Facebook and on TikTok, so feel free to put your questions in, and I will do my best to give you kind of a full answer as well as I can in this platform. If you want to have a confidential consultation with us, call our office. We're at 703-348-1663. We will schedule your consultation. We could certainly schedule your consultation, and we can also, we do it by Zoom or by phone. So you can do it either way, whatever works for you. But using a lawyer, I think, prepares the strongest application possible. And with a strong application, your response time is going to be much faster. The other thing is if something goes wrong, right? Like your case is taking too long to even understand what is too long and what is not too long. Sometimes it feels like you're waiting forever, but you don't even know, how long does it normally take, right? So at least we know how long it takes. We know where to look and we know how to follow up, right? Sometimes, for example, there are certain agencies, certain service centers that have only an attorney line. So an attorney can reach out and follow up and move your case along. But for you, you would have to write a letter or you have to call customer service and you're waiting for a really long time, right? So to move your case along, to get the most efficient service, one, you want to have a strong application, but two, you want to know when something is not going right. You want to be able to identify when something is not going right. So you can tell, hey, this is taking too long. Why is it taking too long? Do they not have everything they need? What else can I do now to kind of assess the weaknesses in my application and bolster it in case I get a question or in case the government asks me for more evidence? So there's different ways to make sure that your application starts off strong and remains strong, and you understand kind of the full timeline and the full process, and you're able to contact USCIS or, the Department of State if the delay is too long or if something is not within normal time frames. All of this you can do, but it is incredibly stressful and you don't know. You're kind of operating in the dark at that point. So an attorney can help clear all of this up, make a strong application for you, keep on top of your case even after it's filed to make sure that you're getting all of the updates that you should be getting. Okay, if you want, go ahead and put your questions in here. I'm happy to answer them. If you want to call us for a consultation, I would suggest calling us now to get on my calendar for next week. We are at 703-348-1663. My name again is Pratibha Agarwal, and I only practice immigration law. I do not practice anything other than immigration, so I help with U.S. immigration law and all types of U.S. immigration law questions. So feel free to call us, and I would schedule a consultation. It would be one-on-one with me. We do them either by phone or by Zoom based on your preference. So you let me know what works best for you. But everything at that point is privileged and confidential. Here, obviously, I'm just providing general information just based on your question without knowing much about your case. So again, I'll do my best to do that, but to get a full, thorough consultation, thorough advice from me, I would suggest you call our office and schedule an appointment. We're at 703-348-1663. Another thing I want to hop on is what else can a lawyer do? I'm talking today about why hire a lawyer for your immigration case, right? So many of these green card processes, many of them require an interview. You need to go to an interview. So to go to an interview, how a lawyer can help, at least how our firm helps, is number one, we do a prep. So whenever your interview is scheduled, we'll let you know what you're supposed to bring, where you're supposed to go, what to expect. And then we also prepare you with sample questions. So we do a meeting where we do kind of a mock interview between me and you, and I can tell you exactly what the government is looking for with certain questions that they're asking you, right? So again, the number one thing for all of these interviews is be honest, right? But you want to, when they ask you a specific question, you want to highlight certain things that are true that will highlight to the government that you do qualify for whatever benefit you are seeking. So if you're applying for a visa abroad, right? So one of the things, for example, is if you're applying for a tourist visa abroad, they might say, how long do you plan to be in the US? So you could say, oh, I'm going here, I'm going to stay for 2 weeks. But what I would suggest to highlight perhaps is to say, hey, I'm going, July 1st or July, what day is July 3rd? Let's say you're going tomorrow, and I'm coming back on July 13th. Here is my round trip ticket. Here's my return flight. Because what they're looking for is that you're not going to overstay your visa. You're not going to overstay your visa. So that is what I would suggest, to highlight, for example, the requirements, to highlight the facts that are true. You might not know to bring that up. You might just say, oh, I'm just going for a little bit, I'm not sure. That's not helpful, right? That's not helpful at all. So sorry about that, guys. So essentially, you need to be able to highlight the requirements, to highlight how you are eligible. And a lawyer can help you prepare for that interview, identify for you what the requirements are, so you understand kind of when you respond, what you should bring up, what's important to bring up, because it's all true and it's sitting there. You just might not know to raise it. Okay, that's another way an attorney can help you. I think there are many ways. I'm getting a bunch of questions here, so I'm going to start answering them. But if you would like to call us again for a consultation, if you'd like to see how we can help, if you would like to figure out how you are eligible, and if you have issues with your current application, this is certainly something that many of our clients call us for. You can call us for a consultation. We're at 703-348-1663. Hi, Crux. Hi, Anud. Let's see. Anud says, hi, can you visit your common law U.S. citizen husband with the B2 visa? Anud, this is kind of exactly what I was talking about, right? So in terms of the B1, the tourist visa, when you go to that interview, what to highlight? So can you visit your common law U.S. citizen husband? So most people are going to say no. And if you don't have a lot of knowledge about the requirements for a tourist visa, it might be hard to qualify. However, I've had people come in, they're not just common law, they're a U.S. citizen, spouse is here, they actually have a green card pending, and we've been able to show the Department of State that this person is not going to overstay their visa. They want to, in fact, go back to their home country, and these are all of the reasons. So we're able to help you highlight the facts that are beneficial to you. So many people would say, you have a spouse in the U.S., and you have a green card pending, there is no way you're going to get a tourist visa. But we've made that happen. We've definitely made that happen. And of course, our clients aren't intending to overstay. They don't want to overstay. So, we're able to highlight all of the facts that show the government that they're not planning to overstay. They are just visiting their spouse, and they need to go back and finish some things up and process their green card abroad. So again, that's how an attorney can help. We can help you kind of figure out, based on your immigration goals, what it is that you need to highlight at these interviews. And a prep is just so important, just to be able to understand the questions, why they're asking you certain questions, what's important to bring up. So that's why an interview prep is just so important. And working with an attorney can very, very much help you prepare your responses and present yourself in the best possible light to the government. Okay. I know that's what he was asking. So, right. My question is, can you visit? Yes, you can visit your U.S. citizen husband, but you need to be prepared for the interview. You need to be prepared for the interview, because their assumption is, hey, this person is going to overstay their visa, right? They have a spouse, they have a citizen spouse in our country. They don't have a green card yet. They're totally going to overstay their visa. So it's going to be up to you to convince the government that you are not going to overstay your visa. And how are you going to do that, right? So how are you going to do that is the question. All right, but you can. It is possible. And my short answer to that, it's going to depend on your particular situation. But essentially, you need to show them that you will not overstay that visa, that you have such strong ties to your home country that you will be leaving after a brief visit. And there's many different ways to prove that. All right, so I hope that's helpful to you. And I hope today was helpful to you guys that are joining me today. On this Friday, on this hot Friday here in the U.S. or in the D.C. area, I should say. I don't know how it is everywhere else. But I think that you can achieve your goals a little bit faster and a little bit stronger sometimes with an attorney. So give me a call. Give me a call if you have any questions, if you would like to schedule a consultation. We are at 703-348-1663. Again, that's 703-348-1663. And I hope you guys have an awesome weekend, and I will see you soon. Bye.